And welcome to the thundercloud. There was actually thunderclouds in the sky tonight. We had a thunder and lightning storm, which made our cat Scrambles do a yowl of a meow that we heard from, I'd say, a good 30, 35 feet away. She was very frightened of the storm. Hopper was also frightened, but not a bitch to the point where she was yowling. She just hid under her bed. Smart decision by Hopper. She knows how to interact when there is a storm, so I'm going to say Hopper is the smartest cat that God has ever crafted. Sage says, if it's NBA talk, I'm leaving. Since you brought up NBA talk, the Raptors did play tonight. They did win. They put up 138 points, which is a shitload of points. I realized that we have a new player on the team, a point guard with the last name Shed. Very easy name to remember. Shed. So, an absolutely stupid fucking name. I will give you that. But a good start to the season nonetheless for the Raptors. So there's your NBA news. I did not put a tag in because I was not going to really cover it, Sage. So thanks for reminding me. I appreciate the support. Really, it's going to be a real short stream tonight. We're just going to go over two things. It's all football related here from here on out. Tomorrow's matchup between the Vikings on the road against the Chargers, as well as we forgot to go over the weekend results for OJ's Juicery, so we need to go over that as well and see who won, who lost, who's where, who's there. Check the standings, check the moves, check the grooves, all that good shit. We'll get to that real shortly here. Before we proceed, let's take a look here, though. We've got the San Diego Chargers hosting the Minnesota Vikings tomorrow night. I'll just kind of go through a few things first. Currently, it's, I'd say, close to a must-win game for the Minnesota Vikings in that they're in last place in the division right now. They've got a pretty good point differential at plus 20. Defense is playing pretty solid. 125 points against. Offense, hasn't really been too bad. It's been okay, I guess. 145 points. I'm a little bit worried about Carson Wentz taking on Justin Herbert and company. The only problem is if you look at the Chargers, who are second in their division to the Denver Broncos with a 4-3 record, they've got, okay point production, 151 points on the board in 7 games. I mean, could be better, could be worse. Defense is definitely underachieving. 163 points against. They were supposed to be a pretty good D. I don't know if it's because they're banged up or what, but they've actually got a negative 12 point differential right now, which is not good. And I know their running game is certainly not going to be great without Omarion Hampton at the helm for the next couple weeks, I do believe. But let's get right to it. Let's see what the betting odds are for tomorrow. We got to click NFL over here. Where the fuck is the NFL button? So it's the top left button. Should have known better. So the Vikings are favored to win by 3.5 points. Or no. The Chargers are favored to win by 3.5 points tomorrow. I could definitely see a world in which, the Chargers win by 10 or a touchdown, something like that, or even 2 scores, if Carson Wentz gets too crazy. I think the Chargers will win the game. They need to, because the Chiefs are coming on hot. They won, two in a row at least, with Rashee Rice coming back. So they need to kind of go on a bit of a winning streak here. Vikings, though, are going to play this close. I think the Vikings will cover that spread. They could potentially win the game. I mean, it really just depends which Carson Wentz shows up. Is it going to be the Carson Wentz that, throws 4 touchdowns, or is it going to be the Carson Wentz that throws 2 or 3 interceptions? My bet is that regardless of how many touchdowns are thrown, he's going to throw 2 interceptions. I always feel like Carson's going to throw at least one pick, at least one stupid pick. So Chargers win, Vikings cover. That is my prediction. Now let's turn our attention to OJ's Juicery. It is the second best league in the world to Pete Rose Bowl cut. Let's just take a little peek at what happened and where everyone currently slots in there. Where is the scores for last week? I know Sage is looking forward to this. Wow. Who's this guy here? Talk about a stud. Everyone wants to write this guy off. Fourth quarter, Steven put up 404 points. Defense was not so hot, though. We allowed 335 points to TDs in your face, but we did knock off, at that time, the number 2 seed in the league. So big win for fourth quarter, Steven. I believe that is the first team to go above 400 points for the season, and potentially going to be the last team to do it, but we're going to do it multiple times. So keep an eye out for this guy. This guy is really, he's made a bunch of trades. He is a phenom. He is a god amongst men, and I really feel like he's going to get things together. Now, on the other side of things, you've got a guy who doesn't even know how to fucking weld a fucking muffler, selling fucking auto parts at Tommy Callahan's Auto Parts. Losing to Deflate These Balls, 291 to 244 and change. Tommy Callahan's Auto Parts, I think he's scuffling right now. Call that muffler a scuffler, yeah? That's what I'm thinking for battle puffing. You got Patchwork Pigskins. I think both Patchwork Pigskins and Deflate These Balls won their fifth in a row. We're 301.5 to 250 to Tim Tebow Bible Club. And then finally, you got Butt Fumble Safety losing 283.5 to 266.5 to Hard Count and Net. Let me just see. Before we proceed to the standings, we've got a threat. We've got a code red threat. We do, I'm hitting the red button soon anyway, so it's okay. So that is a code red threat. Actually, we're gonna have to evacuate this stream because Sage is getting so pissed off. I think he's actually not just talking shit this time around. I think he's for real. I think he's for real talking about fucking shit up. Sage, we don't need this. We don't need this. Just because your fucking best days are behind you as a fucking mechanic in this league does not give you the right to hit that fucking button. So please, put your mouse down, throw it against the wall, throw it in the garbage, make sure that you don't come anywhere close. Okay? Yahoo does suck. We all agree, Sage. You pricks are the ones that fucking forced me to be here. With all due respect, go fuck yourself. And let's take a look at the standings before we get to the moves. So, Deflate These Balls 6-1, scoring 2,159 points thus far. 6-1 record. Patchwork Pigskins 5-2, scoring 2,118 points. TDs in your face in third place, scoring a league high 2,253 points and change. Hard Count and Net, fourth place, 4-3, scoring over 2,057 yards for the season. Butt Fumble Safety, close to 2,000, but 1999.83 and a 3-4 record. Not looking great. Sage, our second lowest scorer in the league, with 1,938 points, is in sixth place with a 3-4 record. That David Montgomery fluke play that should not have happened is looking pretty big right now. That is currently the difference between me being in sixth and Sage being in seventh. Remember that before you go to sleep tonight. I'm at 2-5. I completed my goal. I'm at a 2-5 record. I've got 1995 points scored. After this week, I will jump Butt Fumble Safety, potentially Hard Count and Net, and I will continue to ascend towards greatness. 2-5, and there's a comeback in the works here. I've already made 41 moves this season. I expect 41 more moves made this week. And finally, Tim Tebow Bible Club 1-6 with 18-17. The only team to score less than 1,900 points on the year. Looking like a complete failure. A loser of 5 straight. The opponent in which I face this week, a must-win week for me. Now, let's quickly go over the recent transactions, because I know waiver wire was something that happened very recently, and I would like to get rid of the waivers. It works in baseball. It does not work in football. It does not work in football, in my opinion, because you have a game on Monday, you have a game on Thursday, so essentially your whole week for full roster ability is fucking wavered, which I do not like at all. Sage says, again, Yahoo sucks. It threw off my rhythm. I'll remember beating your ass. That could be your biggest accomplishment of the season when I go on to win a second championship this year. Just don't get guys on Thursday. Yes, Sage, if only it was that easy. If only it was that easy. Anyways, let's take a look at the moves that have been made this week. There's probably a slew of them. So I'm just going to go from most recent to least recent for this week's move. So Tez Johnson, wide receiver for Tampa Bay, being picked up by Deflate These Balls. And Jacoby Myers, who's probably an IR stash, being picked up by Deflate These Balls as well. We got Aaron Rodgers being dropped to free agency. His run with Deflate These Balls is over. Probably for good. Many years together. I picked up a kicker named Eddie Pinheiro, and he might already be on the outs with me. I didn't like how he came in today. And I was serving donaires, and he asked for a fajita. So, Eddie Pinheiro, you can take your Mexican fucking food and shove it up your fucking ass. We eat donaires here, not fucking tacos. This ain't no Taco Bell, bitch. We got Jamel Dean being added by Tommy Callahan's Auto Parts and Travion Henderson being dropped. We also got Milton Williams, defensive tackle, being added by Tommy Callahan's Auto Parts. Kobe Turner being dropped. Good little defensive lineman being dropped by Sage. Cedric Gray, linebacker of Tennessee, being added by Tommy Callahan's Auto Parts. Being dropped is Josh Sweat, linebacker / defensive end. Good little player. Cedric Gray, probably going to be on the field more, though, because the Tennessee Titans are terrible. And Cam Ward is a bust. Keon Coleman was added by Patchwork Pigskins. Being dropped was Kendrick Bourne. She also went on to add Tyler Loop, rookie for the Baltimore Ravens, dropping Matt Gay of the Washington Commanders. Patchwork Pigskins was busy again, adding safety Brandon Jones of Denver, dropping Cameron Kinchins of the Rams. Also being added by Patchwork Pigskins, holy fuck, was Jonathan Grinyard. Being dropped, though, was Andrew Van Ginkel. Van Ginkel looks like he has an injury because it shows his status as being out. Being dropped is Tyler Algier. Being added is Tyler Algier. Being dropped, so he's a running back, obviously, for the Falcons. Being dropped, Christian Gonzalez, cornerback of the New England Patriots. Jesus Christ. You got more moves to go. I feel like one of those guys that's selling at like the auction. My voice could go at any time. Keishon Butte, wide receiver, New England, being added by TDs in your face. He's been playing pretty good this year. I think he's a younger player. Not 100% sure how good he is or not, but I know he has had some good catches. I think maybe a better player in real life than in fantasy football, but not a bad pickup given that, New England has been fucking playing good this year. Jonathan Cooper, linebacker / defensive end, being added for Jaden Daniels. as well for TDs in your face. Jaden Daniels being dropped does not surprise me. Dak Prescott has done well. Jaden Daniels seems like this year's version of CJ Stroud, in my opinion. Could be wrong. So far, I am not, although he's definitely had more injuries than CJ Stroud did. And CJ Stroud's now having a junior slump. It's going, he's going into year 3. Knew it was going to happen. You heard it here first, even though we weren't streaming at that time. Carolina defensive tackle / defensive end Derek Brown being added as well. And Cameron Hayward gets cut. That's probably the last time you'll see him rostered in Fantasy League. Marvin Mims being added. Wide receiver for Denver being dropped. Tyreek Stevenson, defensive back for Chicago Bears. The Bears. We've also got Kyle Hamilton. Kyle Hamilton, safety. One of the best safeties in the league, but not for fantasy purposes. Being added by Deflate These Balls. Nick Chubb getting cut. Makes sense. Nick Chubb's terrible. We got Kenneth Gainwell being dropped. Dorrance Armstrong being dropped. Josh Downs being dropped. Zach Ertz being dropped. Jason Myers being dropped. Previous to that, October 19th would have been last week. So that's our moves for right now. I do have some moves that I need to make. I don't know if I'm going to make them right now on the fly or not. I potentially will. So you guys can see how a genius works and learn how to manage a roster more effectively. Better plug that kicker in there. What do I need? Gonna need a defensive end. Okay, so let's find a defensive end. I'll take a quick little look at the comments here. As I was going to take a look at the comments, I was told to refresh the page. Okay, we've got the guy who had 4 sacks in one game, probably hasn't done shit since because he's playing for the Chargers. Tulai Tuipulotu being added to Deflate These Balls. Being dropped is Tez Johnson, who was just picked up hours ago. We've also got Darnell Mooney, who's a good little 700 to 800 yard receiver per year, being added by Deflate These Balls. He hasn't really been that involved in the offense this year, based on my understanding, because I did have Darnell Mooney. And to anyone that has not hit the like button, hit the like button. I believe there's 1 or 2 of you over there that have not done so. So I'm going to go scouting for a defensive end to plug in this week. Okay, boom. That's... Ooh. Let me see something here. Let me see what the fuck is going on here. What week are we in? We're in week 8, are we? Week 8 already, are we? It's funny how they've got Jalen Carter projected for 10.82 fantasy points. Jalen Carter on the season barely has more than 10.82 fantasy points. So just kind of interesting there. I'm certainly not going to be adding him. Alex Highsmith would be a great add, but I'm not going to add him. Not putting Jordan Love in bad faith there. Let's take a look. So let's check the total. Who do I actually like? Just really not sure what this guy's doing this year. Like, I don't understand it. Potentially scheme. Did have a good week for me once before. So let's just add George Karlaftis right now. And that's not necessarily a move that's going to stick, but I do need to fill out a roster here so that I don't forget later in the fucking week. Now, does anyone want Robert Spillane, linebacker for the New England Patriots? I'd be interested in trading him. In my opinion, he's been a complete, utter disappointment for where he was projected to be. Offensively, Ramondre Stevenson. Okay, I'm going to need a linebacker back too, though. Oh, so we've got someone who lied. That's great. That's really great. Maybe I'll hold on to this bum. Would anyone like to trade for Matthew Golden? Speak now or forever hold your peas. All right, what you got for safeties that I might want? I'm not trusted Julian Love. So I'm going to take a look at the safeties here. I can't check messages unless it's on Discord. Okay, it's on Discord. Pete Warner for fucking who? Matthew Golden? I don't know. Right now I'm going to look for a safety, and you guys can make your trade proposals either here or on Discord there. I don't know who Smith is. There's so many Smiths in this world. I've got a Smith on my team. If there's a Smith on my team, I'd be calling them Smythe. Sage, are you trading Derrick Henry? Sage? Are you trading? Are you going to trade Derrick Henry? Sage says he does not know. He has not gotten a offer. Enough with the sass, Sage, but he does make a good point. Compelling, yet rich. I'm not picking this guy up. Goes against my philosophy. Try to find one of these guys that's actually... You know what? I'm bringing them. I'm bringing them in for the real thing. I'm being... Why is A.J. Brown questionable? Okay, he'll be fine. He's on track. He's on track to return. That's good. That's a good thing. Who can I drop? I don't want to give you guys anything good to deal with over here. You want me to take Roquan Smith? I will trade Spillane for... I will trade Matthew Golden and Spillane for Roquan Smith. Well, that's all you're gonna get. All right, so who am I dropping for Spillane? Or for a safety? Why is Nahshon Wright injured? Okay, gotta pay attention on Friday. Only 2 questionables, though. Does anyone want Allen? Josh Hines Allen? Is that who we're talking about? Josh Hines Allen? Well, so what are the offers for Matthew Golden? Because I've got 2 people that are interested. Are you guys going to make an offer? Going once, going twice. I don't need a linebacker. I only need a linebacker if I am getting rid of Spillane and Matthew Golden for Roquan Smith. Otherwise, I'm going to drop Matthew Golden. You guys can fucking fight with the waiver claims. Y'all know Dan wants fucking Matthew Golden. And you know what, Dan? I would like a beverage. Can you grab one? I need a safety. I do need a safety. Or a Roquan Smith. Okay, I don't want Minkah Fitzpatrick, otherwise I would have added him. But we have Deflate These Balls just added Minkah Fitzpatrick. And I can prove to you that I did not want him.
Do you want McKinney?
No, I don't want McKinney.
Cam Curl?
Cam Curl?
He's on a bye though.
He's on a bye though, so no, I'm not interested. Alright, you guys can fight for Matthew Golden in free agency. I'm going to drop him.
The Baltimore safety.
Kyle Hamilton?
Yeah.
I mean, I'll certainly entertain the thought since I'm not getting any serious offers out there. Sage is just a mute over there. He doesn't want to make any fucking trades. And that's why Sage will lose. Cam Curl's on a bye too. What the fuck, man? Why are you offering me guys that are on buys?
Hamilton isn't.
Well, they're not targeting him. I'm sorry, I'm not. You guys can fight for Matthew Golden on the fucking waiver wire. I'm dropping him. And being added is Jalen Petrie of Houston, a safety. Welcome to fourth quarter, Steven. Jalen Petrie. Yeah, Petrie's been consistent. Petrie has huge upside, 3 picks on the year. Petrie's been playing his fucking heart out. I was thinking Minkah Fitzpatrick, but he seems hit or miss. Not as consistent. All right, so we've got a move there. So I want to check the projections for this week because not only are we previewing the NFL, we're going to preview the juicery too. So I'm up against the 7 seed. I don't believe in projections at all because I'm projected for the same amount I was last week. Projected for 272 points. Tim Tebow Bible Club is projected for 200. I pray to God that stays where it's at. That would be awesome. Tommy Callahan projected for 272. Hard counter net projected for 229. Deflate These Balls. A matchup for first place. Up against Patrick Pigskins. The winner of that will be the 1 seed. And then you've got a big match between Butt Fumble Safety and TDs in Your Face. So I'm certainly cheering for Hard Count and Net and TDs in Your Face this week so that I can have the same record, potentially, as Tommy Callahan's Auto Parts and Butt fucking Fumble Safety. That's what I'm hoping for, right there. Let's see if there's any trade offers that are serious now. I do not need Allen. White is on a bye, so I wait to trade him. You don't want White when he's on a bye. You might not want White at all. frankly. Just trying to see if there's any other moves I can pick. Like, maybe I'll do this in my spare time. But, Sage, I'd like to have DJ Henry back. Oh, shit. Derrick Henry back, please. I'll give you Trey Tucker. Sage says, offer me the farm, when Corpse File says, I want Derrick Henry back. Actually, let me see if I can improve on defensive line. You know, these games are won in the lines, in the trenches. Now, there's not much out there. There's really not that much out there for defensive tackles. They've been plucked. And then some. Let's see if this guy's been consistent. Take a quick look at the comments here. I'll take a top-end wide receiver in return, so offer wisely. Did you know McKitty of the Packers hasn't been targeted once this year? Should I be dropping him in fantasy? Well, I believe I've discussed this many times, especially in the secondary. A lot of times guys are good in fantasy that aren't in real life, and vice versa. So, it does not surprise me. Do you think Darrelle Revis would have been fucking good to play with when, in fantasy, when it was like Revis Island and they were just thrown to the other side of the field, other outlets, etc., etc. I remember we had a guy, a tackling machine, actually really good in fantasy. You remember that guy we had that he went to the Giants. He had the Pokemon card scandal. What was his name? Was it Jake Ryan? No, don't think it was Jake Ryan. I'll just type in Packers Pokemon. I'll get the player. Blake Martinez. Yeah, Blake Martinez. A guy like, oh yeah, you know, you'd have him in fantasy and he'd be, you know, he'd be he'd be good. He'd get tackles, but was he good at stuffing the run? No, because it was 7-8 yards down the field. He wasn't ever making splash plays or anything. He just made, you know, a bunch of tackles down the field. And that's all there is to it. We can talk about it. There's no need to become hostile and say, give me my fucking player back, a player that you never owned. I can certainly trade Devin White. I think Devin White's a piece of shit. That's why I added him, so I could trade him to someone that wanted him. But I might actually keep him because he's on a shit team. They're never on the field offensively, so they're always on the field defensively. So I might have to keep this fucking guy now. At first, I thought it was preposterous that people would be interested in him, but now I kind of understand it. Inconsistent. Now he's probably got a terribly rated on PFF, which is not the end of the world. A 41.9 rating, which is 74th out of 77 linebackers. Now, I don't know if that's the end-all, be-all, but if PFF is any good at grading at all, Devin White, who's been a fantasy expert, is terrible. So, That's all I'm going to say. That's what I don't like. Sage, I'll give you T. Higgins for Derrick Henry. You know he's top 10 with Flacco throwing to him. All right, let me see what else I can do to sprinkle. I'll do a little sprinkling. Trey Tucker and T. Higgins. Trey Tucker has been consistent this year. He's been the only real wide receiver target for the Oakland Raiders. Trey Tucker and T. Higgins for Derrick Henry. And we wait for him to make up his mind. He's really thinking about this, I can tell. The thing is, Sage, if you have both, if one of them busts, the other one won't bust, generally speaking. So that's why you want to have both. All right, Tucker Kraft and Trey Tucker for Derrick Henry. I'm going to ask you if you care. I'm asking you, Sage, do you care? Another red object. Does that mean you're pressing the button? Sage says, I don't give a flying fuckaroo. Does that mean you're saying yes or no to my trade offer, though? Okay. Sage says no. Do you want me to come back with a serious offer, Sage? Okay. This serious offer you might not like so much. But I can come back with a serious offer here. You really want me to fucking spank you like a small child at the fucking mall? Is that what you want? That sounded wrong. Okay. So how can I fuck Sage up is what I'm thinking right here. Well, Sage is paper thin. Papyriously thin. Papyriously. Guaranteed. That's super thin. Sage is a disaster. Oh my God. They're all dying everywhere on this team. Oh. Sage, you should want a tight end. You should be all over Tucker Kraft. Oh my God. We've got someone just spouting off names of random players. I don't know if this is an offer or what. We've got Garrett Wilson, Henley, Allen, Werner. No one wants Allen. Sage, I ran a physical on him. Our standards are a little bit lower than the league. I mean, he was eating donaires pretty well when he was on our team. So that's how he passed his medical. So we thought he was good to go, man. We didn't know Brock Bowers was, in any sort of trouble. Who do I want? That's a good question, actually. Who do I want for Tucker Kraft? See, sometimes there's real football brains that come out and are like, hey, Tucker Kraft's a pretty damn good player. Okay. I would love to facilitate some sort of a trade involving George Pickens. I've already told you I'm interested in Breece Hall, but not while he's on a bye. Or is he on a bye? Okay, so Tucker Kraft and what else for George Pickens? I'm not shooting low, man. I'm gonna shoot high here. And I've loved George Pickens since the day he was fucking drafted. That's who I wanted actually over Christian Watson. I wanted us to take George Pickens. Okay, Breece Hall's not on a bye. Okay, if I give you Barkley, who are you going to give me? Because I'm going to want like a real running back coming back. Give me a second. I need to crunch some numbers here. The only thing is I know that Pickens is going to take a hit when CeeDee Lamb returns. That's the only thing. It's not quite there, especially long term. It's close. It's a good starting point, but it's not quite there. Is there a way you can include Kenneth Walker and I'll include Trey Tucker? Because I know Bucky Irving's not going anywhere. Alright, it looks like a seed has been planted and a potential agreement could be made within hours. But we're going to have to call it here, ladies and gentlemen, because we're deep into negotiations at this point. Sage, you need to stop being such a pussy. Start making more trades. You guys need to stop being so scared of getting ripped off and actually fucking talk shop is all I got to say. Tomorrow we will stream. And we will do a video game or two. Maybe Balatro. Maybe a scary game or two. We shall see. But we will stream some games tomorrow. Since I don't have to work on Friday, although I have to get up a little earlier than normal, so I won't be able to stay up all night or anything like that. But yeah, we'll get to it tomorrow. I'm going to formulate some trades. And Jigba is on a bye. I mean, I don't know. If I can make a huge trade, I'm going to make huge trades. That's all I have to say. Alright, let's get the fuck out of here. Have a good night, guys. Good luck to everyone not named Tommy Callahan's Auto Parts and Butt Fumble Safety. I hope you guys both lose miserably this week. See you tomorrow.